So now we're going to look at student survey results in Excel. I'm going to show you how to find the descriptive statistics and also sort by the particular question and sort by groups and sort by the sentiment of students. So we're going to kind of go a little roundabout, but I swear I'm going to go fast through this because, well, you don't have much time. I don't have much time. Let's just make this happen. All right, so we're here on 1.2, problem finding. We are looking at actually defining the problem with the use of descriptive statistics. So if you're looking at the AP version of what you could use for this later on, that's right there. And then also we're going to be looking into how our descriptive statistics fit into defining our problem. So on the SharePoint, I have all of the formulas you will need for this, and then we have our little sandbox here, but that's not what we're doing right now. We're going to do two things. I'm going to open up the student survey results in a new tab. Hopefully you did this last week and took a look at it, and you have some sort of interest in something. So we have all these issues, and I'm just going to select one over here. All right. So remote learning is harder mentally, yes, and maybe this will cooperate, yes. Remote learning is harder mentally. We can pop around a little bit, been dress coded, see how these things work, but ultimately what I want to do is I want to say, find a question that I like, that interests me, and that has connections. So I feel that this online environment lowered my self-esteem and worsened my overall mental state. That's the one we're going to use. So I'm going to go back into this, and now I'm going to get some detailed information. I'm going to go to the Excel file, and this is going to get a little kludgy, so pay close attention here. You're going to have to save this with a different name. Okay, that's the extent of the kludgy. We can figure that out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to File, and we're going to save as. We do want to save a copy online, otherwise it'll tell us we can't. And then I'm just going to put in parentheses here, example, and we'll go ahead and save it. Okay, so now we have one that is totally our sandbox. And we were looking at self-esteem, right? We're looking at this question right here, which is, I feel that this online environment has lowered my self-esteem. So click on this over in the corner, Control F. I feel that this, and we'll take a look. And you can see that when you take a, when you search there, it's just going to kind of pop you around. So this is our little survey result here. I feel that this online environment has made my life more difficult socially, which is actually not the one I was looking for, is it? So we're going to keep going until we find it. Find next. Yes, find next. Find next. Find all. All right, so I got DQ and EH. So we need EH1, and that's the one we're going to. And I'll be honest with you, you're going to see me make mistakes. That's fine. So here's our EH. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this, and we're going to dive in here. So we know this is the formula bar. So we can just look at this and determine all the things that are formulas here. And we know that results are down here. And so what I'm going to do is first I need to sort by the results. I want to sort the results from top to bottom. So top to bottom, we call that descending. So I'm going to come up there, I click on that, and hopefully you saw that. I clicked on 14, and then I scrolled down to 49. I held Shift, and I selected all of them. This is where it gets important to pay close attention and to do this correctly, or just to throw it out and start over every time. So we're going to come here. We know we're sorting by EH. I'm going to go to Data, Custom Sort, and I want to sort top to bottom. Okay. I want to sort on EH. So we got a lot of questions in here. Okay, sort. And ascending. We want to go descending. All right, so descending is going to go from top to the bottom, just kind of like it sounds. And we're going to say, okay, bum, ba, bum. All right, so now that we have these sorted, and what we did was we just put all these responses in order. All these 3s and 2s, and then all these 1s and 0s, right? And so what I want to do is I want to pick a point that separates these. Now, I can do this a couple different ways. I can separate them into groups of, strongly agree or agree and disagree. Or what I can do is look at my average, which is my mean, and pick everything below that. It depends on the question you want, and it will depend on how you write your answer, or how you will write your problem statement. So pay close attention to what you're doing, because you want to be able to make factual, truthful, replicable statements. So I'm going to click on the above average group here, and I'm just going to double click, and you can see up here average EH14 through EH22. If I double click, I can see that that's this little group right here. I want to include more. So you see the arrows that crop up when I make these boxes? I'm going to click on that, I'm going to hold down, and I'm going to bring it all the way down to these agree groups. I'm not going to go down to the somewhat agree. I'm going to stick with that group because I really want to see what separates them, and this is not a final study. This is a investigation. So I've got my above average group. I hit enter. Now I'm going to click the below average group, and I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to work my way down, and I'm going to leave all these kids who just said 1 kind of out of this, because I don't know what would be going through their head there, and once again, I'm investigating. You want to have probably at least 10 on either one. Otherwise, the averages are not going to give you hardly any worthwhile data. So I'm going to hold these down here, and now we're going to check out how they answered other questions. So hit enter, and we can see. For the kids that agreed, on average, they said 2.4 out of 3. For kids that disagreed, they on average said negative 1.2 out of negative 3. That's a difference of 3.69, which is on a 7-point scale, 53%. Okay, and you can see how these are all done up here. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to select this and drag it just 1 down. So I'm grabbing the center of it, dragging 1 down, and we're going to use that little corner box trick where you get the little plus sign, little plus symbol here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it, I'm going to drag it over to the right until I get to the end of my data. So I am applying the same group. And hopefully you can see that the kids who agreed with my initial statement, that I am averaging their responses for every question. I want to see how they answered other questions, looking for correlations, things that are connected. And then I'm going to take the same thing, I'm going to grab this and that, and I'm just going to grab it from the beginning, and I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning here. And now I have time to talk. Drink my hot water, like an old man. All right, so I cut off at the numbers, we're going to hit that, and we can see, okay, so 2%, not much of a difference, right? 14%, negative 14%, starting to get significant here. Negative 15%. Okay, so we can go through and we can look at all of these things, knowing that these are the kids that made our initial point in EH. So I might as well get all the way over here to EH, right? If you agreed with this statement, either strongly agreed or agreed, then your averages are being calculated differently than if you disagreed. And now we want to take everything and sort it by those differences because we want to see what's most significant. And there's two ends of this. First end is this one. I'm going to select FQ up here, just click. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And if you can't see, there's a little bar down here. I'm just dragging it back and forth. Go all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to hold Shift, select it all. And I want to sort it by the differences between the kids who agreed and the kids who disagreed with that initial statement. So I'm going to go to Data Sort, Custom Sort, and this time I'm actually going to go to Options, and I want to sort it not top from bottom this time, left to right. Left to right, and I want to sort it by row 3. Notice I didn't select all of the data. I didn't select the gender, I didn't select race, because it's not going to average out like that. Sort ascending, I'm going to sort descending again. Click OK. And lo and behold, the most significant data point is the one that we sorted things by. However, almost as significant are these other ones. I feel anxious often. I'm going to get right up in here. Yeah. So, my mental health has gone down this year. Sometimes I feel like I don't have value. Stress is hard to manage. You're seeing similar results as what you saw in our social network diagram of these issues, but now you have numbers and you have points. And like I said so many times in class, I don't want you to argue with people. I want you to make people argue with the numbers you found. That takes you out of it. All right. So positive correlations, I'm considering something above 15%, because to me that's like a full jump. In terms of 14% would be like a switch, right? On from one level to the next. So things above 15%, I'd say are significant and worth looking into further. Now none of this would be published, but you're gonna find some weird ones too. In here that don't make a whole lot of sense, and I challenge you to try to make sense out of them. All right, so we have all of these that could be considered tied to what we were looking at, which was, I feel that this online environment has lowered my self-esteem and worsened my overall state of mind. So we're going to come all the way back here. Everything to the left of this is going to be significant, but there's a way of keeping going. Because if you agreed with that, you typically agree with this. But if we go all the way to the other end of the data, we're going to see that if you agreed with that initial statement, you disagreed with this, which makes sense, right? You disagreed that you liked online school. Or if you typically disagreed with the mental health, then it makes some sense that you would say you enjoy online school. And it also might make some sense that you have high self-esteem. Everything I've achieved, I feel I deserve. I feel that the relationships close to my family members have gotten better in this online environment. I think what we can see is that what we saw in the social network diagram now has very precise numbers associated with it. And we can start to use those numbers to enumerate. Okay. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Hope I don't get fired or kicked off of YouTube for that.